Temp agencies and alternative staffing. Employers increasingly supplement their permanent workforces by hiring contingent or temporary workers, often through temporary help employment agencies. Also known as part-time or just-in-time workers, the contingent workforce is big and growing. Several things contribute to the trend toward using more temporary employees. One is continuing weak economic confidence among employers. Another is the trend towards organizing around short-term projects. For example, one company, which manufactures machine tools, now outsources the installation of large machines to contract firms, who in turn hire temps to do the installations. Flexibility is another concern, with more employers wanting to quickly reduce employment levels if the economic turnaround proves short-lived. The contingent workforce isn't limited to clerical or maintenance staff. It includes thousands of engineering, science, or management support occupations, such as temporary chief financial officers, human resource managers, and chief executive officers. Employers can hire temp workers either through direct hires or through temporary staff agencies. Direct hiring involves simply hiring workers and placing them on the job. The employer usually pays these people directly, as it does all its employees, but classifies them separately, as casual, seasonal, or temporary employees, and often pays few if any benefits. The other approach is to have a temp agency supply the employees. Here the temp agency handles all the recruiting, screening, and payroll administration for the temps. For example, Nike hired Kelly Services to manage Nike's temp needs. Pros and cons of temp staffing. Employers have long used temps to fill in for permanent employees who were out sick or on vacation. But today's desire for ever higher productivity also contributes to temp workers' growing popularity. Productivity is measured in terms of output per hour paid for, and temps are generally paid only when they are working and not for days off. Many firms also use temporary hiring to give prospective employees a trial run before hiring them as regular employees. The benefits don't come without a price. Temps may be more productive, but generally cost employers more than comparable permanent workers, since the agency gets a fee. Furthermore, people have a psychological reference point to their place of employment. Once you put them in the contingent category, you are saying they are expendable. When working with temporary agencies, ensure that basic policies and procedures are in place. For example, with temps, the timesheet is not just a verification of hours worked. Once the worker's supervisor signs it, it is usually an agreement to pay the agency's fees. What is the policy if the client wants to hire one of the agency's temps as a permanent employee? How does the temp agency plan to recruit employees? These are questions that need to be taken care of when using temp agency. What supervisors should know about temporary employees' concerns? To make temporary relationships successful, managers supervising temps should understand these employees' main concerns. In one survey, 6 key concerns emerged. Temporary workers said they were 1. Treated by employers in a dehumanizing and ultimately discouraging way. 2. Insecure about their employment and pessimistic about the future. 3. Worried about their lack of insurance and pension benefits. 4. Misled about their job assignments and in particular about whether temporary assignments were likely to become full-time. And 5. Underemployed. particularly those trying to return to the full-time labor market. Legal guidelines. There is a need to understand the status of the contract employees who work on your premises. For purposes of most employment laws, with certain limited exceptions, employees of temporary staffing firms working in an employer's workplace will be considered to be employees both of the agency and of the employer. In the Indian context, the agency and the employer need to ensure that they are in compliance with the Contract Labor Regulation and Abolition Act 1970. Other alternative staffing practices. Temporary employees are examples of alternative staffing. Outsourcing and offshoring are perhaps the most extreme examples of alternative staffing. Rather than bringing people in to do the company's jobs, outsourcing and offshoring send the jobs out. Outsourcing means having outside vendors supply services, such as benefits management, market research, or manufacturing, that the company's own employees previously did in-house. Offshoring is a narrower term. It means having outside vendors or employees abroad supply services that the company's own employees previously did in-house. Outsourcing and offshoring are both contentious. Particularly in challenging economic times, employees, unions, legislators, and even many business owners feel that shipping jobs out, particularly overseas, is ill-advised. That notwithstanding, employers are sending more jobs out, and not just blue-collar jobs. For example, GE's transportation division announced that it was shifting its mid-level drafting jobs from Pennsylvania to India. Sending out jobs, particularly overseas, presents employers with some special challenges. One is the potential for political tension in countries such as India. Others include the likelihood of cultural misunderstandings, such as between the home-based customers and the employees abroad, security and information privacy concerns, the need to deal with foreign contract, liability, and legal systems issues, and the fact that the offshore employees need special training. Rising overseas wages and quality issues are prompting more employers to bring their jobs back home. The bottom line is that neither outsourcing nor offshoring always brings all the savings one would have hoped for, and both require careful consideration of human resource issues.